It's 11:11. Uh-oh. InShalla and Ashe, blessings to you as always, my energetic beings. So we're holding heartfelt thoughts and shifting our opinions. So our relation center, the heart center, is the only one that truly matters, especially when it comes to the streams of our mind. And being that we're in the season of Gemini, it is all about keeping our thoughts high vibe and removing all of the ones that kind of deplete our energetic field, especially our heart field. So even if it calls for visualizing a flower, say, this is what happened for me. Every time a negative thought comes in, it's like flower, like Dory or Dory in Finding Nemo, actually. That's kind of how that all came in for me or transpired. But welcome to the Daily Snippet. I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic shaman and medium, incorporating the indigenous technologies, an otherworldly life coach, a subtle energetic surgeon, if you will. But I do go by the term holistic shaman medium, just blending all of the two, or actually the three, holism, shamanism, and mediumship, all combined into one. But my intention truly is to utilize the power of the indigenous technologies, the elemental realms, the original blueprint, to navigate our soul's harmonic through the realm of the elementals, the elemental highway, and into the imaginal realms, our imagination, the cosmos, with these subtle energies, elements, and elemental beings, with offerings, prescriptions, and rituals to really add to your juice, your personal container. But my goal truly is to authentically merge the wisdom of these indigenous ways with the subtle realms, the etheric highway, to assist you into navigating your prime directive, your inner genius, the star that I believe we all are, within our corridor, our vessel. So just reintroducing you to the magical being that I think resides within each of us so that our light, our star, can shine even brighter. My name is Tanya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. So love to hear who jumped on and tuned into the Archangel of Gemini podcast. Curious if you were enjoying the otherworldly messages from these angelic beings and the season of 2022. I've done a lot of the Dagara season of fire, the ancestors, the rituals, and we are in the season of fire, the summer. So our skin or body conditions that relate to the heat literally may be coming out. I have a summer allergy or cold. I'm not sure what's happening. But being that we are in the season of the heart, fire is the heart. It's also the small intestine, the pericardium, the triple warmer. And also we have Leo coming up, which is the heart of the lion's den, if you will. But my next podcast is literally going to be all about the heart, the subtle energy of the heart, the elemental heart, and so much more. But check out the Nature Series podcast to calibrate with the elemental seasons, if you will. But today is a day to talk ourselves up, becoming more heart-centric in all aspects of our thoughts, our relationship, our foundation, being heartful. So it's like being heart thankful at the same time, an attitude of gratitude, and planting that garden full of those characters, the seasonal characters, if you will. And also, real quick, if you haven't already, please do be kind and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tanya D, and also go ahead and hit the bell button so you too are notified when I go live. And also, if you don't mind sharing and commenting on the videos, a comment or a share gets you a message for your day. Just saying. So I have one for, oh gosh, I forgot. I did write it down. However, I do have a card for someone today, last minute. But the algorithm, it really helps with the algorithm, sending me out to like-minded musers in the universe who also muse about the insights of the other world, spirit, source, beings, and more, along with other social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and my Musing with Tanya D podcast. But if your soul wishes to really dive deeper into the realms of the other world, the subtle bodies, head on over to my Musing Corridor, where I have a digital library to assist you and also guide you I really am your shaman assistant, opening your eyes to a different perspective. You really are your own healer. So, how did you enjoy yesterday's snippet? Any insight into thought forms and breaking that chain event? So, today kind of has a similar energy frequency with thoughts, but it's also a conversation with our heart. And our heart always knows the truth, the inner truth, where we do and we do not be. I mean, if I don't feel like I belong somewhere, I literally leave. Or if your heart knows you no longer belong, like in a certain career, a relationship, but you stay there to appease the other. Our heart knows, and I think heart conditions are more sometimes energetic than we may think sometimes. But being that it's a thoughtful heart kind of day, kind of sitting in sacred space, and imagine in your mind's eye what your heart desires to attract. Skillful listeners, possibly. So with that, I'm going to go with the Shaman's Oracle today, the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So if we can get, see if we can get spirit to assist us with our heart's thoughts about ourselves, our opinions of ourselves, desires, being non-judgmental, with our self-talk today. So you may actually have some energetic hiccups come in and going to the root cause of the hiccup, especially when things appear to fall apart so that they may fall together. So it's as if the tower may crumble, and it's necessary sometimes. It's not a bad thing. A lot of the stuff that's under the rug that just may come out today. You may have quantum otherworldly thoughts, subtle energy thoughts, endless possibilities. So yeah, so be sure to kind of feel into that. So the 3 cards we have today, just kind of sit with those 3. I used feathers today. Feathers, you know, air, the mind, Gemini. So that's kind of where my brain goes when the seasons are floating and the elementals. And just see what feather stirs your mind, if you will. Take a breath and a pause. It's always important, right? I don't know who's all with me here. There we go. Or you can go with all 3. It's up to you. Follow your heart. It's kind of like your nose. It always knows. So our first message is the wind. It's I don't know if you can see the 63 in the corner. So this is really opening us up to a new perspective, a belief in which to act upon. Launching a new attitude, if you will, the wind. So the wind is also the element of air, the ideals. Birds are floating upon the air, waves, taking messages from one tree to another. Air is the season of Gemini. It's our thoughts, communication, songs, poetry, inspired ideas, thought provoking, right? And then change in all of these qualities, whether it's positive, negative, the characters, the temperament. You know, is the wind cold? Is it hot? Just blowing in from all these directions. So generally it comes in from the east on the heavenly stems and the 4 pillars. Vision, the element of nature or wood. It's the eye of the soul. So if you chose this message, kind of take a breath and a pause and ask yourself, where is the thoughts, communication, ideas, etc., blowing in the form of wind from? And kind of write it down. So by that, is it coming in from the east, the west, the north, what direction? Or even the heavenly realm. So if you feel like the wind is blowing in from the south, this kind of carries the energy of a new sense of trusting and helping you to begin to remove those old habits, parts of you that are no longer serving you or parts that are no longer needed. And the west is calls in to us a more introspective, introvertive kind of thing, to be willing to kind of make final decisions to cut. Metal comes in from the west, just letting go of attachments, our ego or desires. The north is a career frequency. It's our water element. So the winds move here to bring wisdom and strength. Water is the wisdom. The east, again, that carries the frequency and the vibration of getting clarity, clear about your vision and your purpose. So whatever way the wind, excuse me, whatever way the wind is blowing for you, the message the wind is whispering or maybe shouting, like howling wind, right? That's a challenge. So it may take courage at first to turn and face the wind. But at the end, you're going to find yourself celebrating as you move towards it, receiving the lessons, the memo. So again, it's the breakdown to the breakthrough. So with the wind coming as medicine, we're being invited to recognize the value within the chaos, right? So windstorms, they create necessary chaos to clear the air, spreading seeds so plants and trees can take root in new greener pastures. So at the moment, your world may appear as if it is upside down, but it's always a temporary storm, right? And all storms pass. They blow over, right? That's just what they do. So it may be even metaphorically as if communication has broken down between you and somebody else, or maybe your list of to-do things, your tasks or duties are overwhelming. So the medicine is simply to slow down, simplify the to-do list, and maybe take a course correction, if you will, kind of like an airplane has to correct its path to get back on path if you feel that you need to, and just kind of wait out the storm to kind of clean things up. All storms, right? All chaos. They all have value if we can remain neutral during the storm, the wind. So it's like clarity and greater things come from it all. And as always, this too shall pass. I mean, there have been some things I think the wind can escalate on, just saying, in the outer realms sometimes, right? I don't watch the news, so I don't really know much what's happening there. I just stick with the elements. They're much kinder. Okay, message number 2, we have the spiral. Actually, this is actually one of my favorites, but really they're all kind of my favorites. They all have great messages if you tune in, right? But the spiral, you can see the 50 in the corner. That's a Gemini season master number, the 5. So our mind is online spiraling possibly out of control. And our mind needs sacred space so it doesn't spin out of control. Our mind, our thoughts do need boundaries. So it's like out into the cosmos, the galaxies, the beaches, streams, oceans, plants, shells. I mean, you can see a spiral in almost everywhere and everything out in the nature realms, the plant realms, the clouds. So its shape is one of a coiled serpent, if you will. It's a tool that's been used since ancient times, even Celtic times. I remember seeing spirals out of twigs, messages, the Big Bang, even growth, transformation. But this is a guide for us to enter into a deep state of our own consciousness, the unknown, and just extending far out into the realms of the cosmos, the heavenly realm. It's kind of like surrendering. It's a radical aspect of our journey, a radical transformation or a radical ritual, and just dissolving an outdated, overly run paradigm in the depths of our psyche and releasing the energies. And in doing so, it kind of bursts something fresh into reality, birthing anew. So this is like an announcement coming as we kind of descend into the depths and also the rebirth. It really kind of reminds me of the rise of the phoenix, which is fire energy from the south, just allowing nothing to get in the way of our process. And as the time begins to kind of ripen, the forces of nature, in this case, the wind, is going to support our endeavor. So we can create a ritual with stones, twigs, flowers, whatever it is, and just building our own spiral on the ground that's large enough to walk through, at least 3 turns, 3 spirals. And as you enter slowly and you begin into the center, once you're there, offer to the Earth Mama your feelings, situations, events that you no longer want in your life, that are no longer serving you. And then as you walk back the same way that you entered, feel like the recharge, the birthing for this new journey. It's like getting ignited, or it's like lightning. It kind of reminds me of lightning recharging, giving that sensation, if you will, but the spiral. So I'm going to be doing this ritual today, actually, later on. And our final message, or kind of our final message, is from the Rattle. Like baby rattles, ritual rattles, love the rattles. I have quite a few. but it's a spirit caller. I think that's why it's so fun with babies with a rattle calling in spirit, energetically and naturally. How cool is that? So this is carrying the power of those four winds, those four directions. Again, the air. So if you've ever done a sweat lodge, the lodge is kind of set up like a womb, where the rattle is the earth spinning on an axis, the body of the rattle. So when we're using the rattle, we can literally send out our intentions, call in the spirits, our desired destiny out into the future. So we do a calling in, but we also do a closing prayer, and we're calling in the directions, calling in the Great Spirit, praying for all the beings of the earth, not just our own personal needs. So it's just being hyper aware of it all, of our highest good, our highest timeline for all the things, and just knowing that everything is absolutely provided for us. So we're kind of being invited to work with the tools of spirit. However, at the same time, being careful and using them mindfully. Sometimes they can be sharp, they can be quick, they can inflict harm, words, right? Or even if they're not used mindfully. So it's like what beliefs and what belongs when we call in spirit, when we are aligned with our beliefs, not the outer, but our heartfelt beliefs. We know in our heart where we truly belong. And then the spirit is induced. That's kind of the message of the number 43. So which is spirit? The 4 and the 3 adds to 7, which is a spirit number. It's Neptune and it's Pisces. And Pisces is at the 25th degree, which is also enhancing spirit-induced reflection. So it's like the set of the old physical tools, kind of set them aside and go to the drawing board with sacred instruments of spirit, just calling in spirit organically. So we're consciously kind of stepping in communion or partnership with the divine. So it's time to be courageous with whatever it is we're creating, and don't let hesitation or others get in the way of your soul's expression, dancing the dance of the earth dance and just discovering an attitude of gratitude within yourself. I mean, people can say they are grateful all of the time, like 24/7, but actions really take that center stage of an attitude of gratitude as well, right? So just kind of pay attention to the language that you use within yourself, the tone of that language that you're using, and your attitude you may or you may not have with yourself. It's literally taking notes of where those thought-provoking moments do belong or if they don't. So it's a pause point in our thinking paradigm, allowing the winds of change to alter, cleanse, and birth anew. And a real quick shout out to Lee's Library. I almost said Lion's Library. Thanks for your comment. So I do have a card for you if you're tuning in and listening. But this is the arrow, which I love. And Lee, your channel is super fun, by the way. But I do have the arrow for you. This is a magical arrow. Malidoma Somé, one of my, I'm a protege, somebody I really respect and learned a lot from in the world of indigenous technologies. But Malidoma, his book, father had an arrow. So every time I see the arrow, I think of the story about the arrow. So check out his books. I believe it was his African Wisdom. It may have been The Waters. It's one of those two. I can't remember. However, the arrow, this is a state when you are in alignment with your heart and your soul. You are like on target. You're in the flow. You're going to hit the mark. So it's about being authentic, be true to your calling, your divine purpose, releasing attachments and just freeing ourselves from kind of earthly ambitions, if you will. So something's going to be revealed to be a moment, opening the door to your intentions that are kind of landing, manifesting in the material world, things coming from energy, the arrow to matter. So the arrow, it's also symbolic of setting our creativity free, like going with the flow, the air, streaming through the air. But being that the arrow's otherworldly, this is kind of a placeholder, giving time and space to your beliefs. And that was actually yesterday's memo, which you actually commented on. So it may be time that you kind of admit, by continuing on your path, the flow of the arrow, the one that you were on, that you may be like shooting yourself in the foot or the wrong direction. Maybe you're too attached to winning the game that you literally miss your own true bullseye. So what if your arrow was never meant to land where you want it to, like be in the unseen? So it's kind of a sign to kind of regroup, maybe bundle a bunch of arrows together. I'm seeing like arrows in a holder. What am I talking? A hatch kind of thing. So just ask yourself if what you desire is really worth your energy, your frequency. So it's kind of a sign that there is something better and waiting, and just kind of consider the wisdom and not getting what you want, suffering possibly in this case. That's the pathway to heal parts of us that feel unworthy, parts of us that worry that there isn't enough, and making peace with those voices. What is truly yours is going to be waiting for you, and authentically, just you're doing great, right? It's my mantra for the year. We're all doing great, right? That's what I'm going with. And then on the elemental highway, we're still in the season of the month, the snake, fire, but we have a young earth tiger of a day, the Wu Yin, 2 tigers. So our fire is literally on fire. Our earth is supported. Big earth is the mountain. And water on the year is feeding our nature metal. We don't have any metal, which is the performance of our day. So if this was a person, I always like going to the elemental that's not really present. That's kind of your natural organic talent. This would be a person that's organized, a great manager, a leader, metal roles, leadership roles, skillful, working with metal, creating out of metal. So yeah, that's the missing element. So that would kind of be the link again for the natural talent to like trust that. Also, we have the small intestine, red blood circulation, the heat of summer. So using the season of summer to bring the body into balance, the element of fire. That's why I work with an energy, a product line based on the elementals, the energies, because I understand them when the body speaks its language. I have products. Feed ethers are actually my favorite. Real quick, this is a fire feed ether. They work on the quantum field. That's why they're called feed ethers. They work on the etheric. So I won't get into that yet. That'll be on Rising of the Origin. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. However, our water isn't rooted today, but our day is solid. But we have mountain. It's a mountain. The mountain is what we go to tell our secrets. The mountain doesn't come to us. We go to the mountain. So our day is warm. It's prosperous. We have wood to kind of break up the earth. So we have the forest, which is the big tiger, the young wood, and we have grass, which is on the month. But we do need metal. So, I mean, you could create a crystal grid in the shape of a spiral, if you will. You can call in waters from the clouds if there's any fires out there, just adding more moisture to our earth. In the neighborhood, we have a god called the Charmer today. This is a flirt, something who seduces through the conversation, got that smooth, polite voice, quick talkers, smooth talkers. Kind of like the neighborhood diplomat, if you will. But on the year, we have a flamboyant god, which is hilarious. This is creativity, it's strong communication abilities, sex appeal, sex drive, very energetic, chatty, unpredictable though, foul language. There's always 2 opposing forces. Lots of swearing, sexual innuendos, risk takers. But, again, all of this can lead down a negative path as well, having a negative behavior, addictions of all kinds, losing money through gambling. Money just as an exchange of energy. It's this playboy behavior, highly promiscuous. But our day is on fire, really, I suppose. Really got the charmer and flamboyant, so that's fire energy. But the mountain, so I would go to the mountain, talk to the mountain spirits, maybe create that spiral in the mountain out of nature with stones again and twigs and flowers, creating your own little labyrinth. But with our crown online and more, right? The moon is in Aries, so it's like loving and trusting our behaviors today, our emotional frequency. Mars is in Aries too, the home of the home. So it's like taking that insightful spiritual action. Jupiter's there as well, taking action on our heartfelt beliefs. What is our heart's opinion about ourselves? And how do you have that conversation with yourself? You know, we do have actually a lot of Aries elementals today. Chiron is there, cleansing the cosmic cobwebs. Venus, too. So this is kind of a stellium in the ethers today in our action behavior quadrant. All things Aries and Mars related. So we start with Mars. Mars just entered. Jupiter, then we have the moon, Chiron, and then into Venus. So it's like time to decide on what we really want to open up to at the end of our day and what action are we committed to receiving that behavior, taking that next step. So Mercury is also an aspect to transformation, communicating and transforming our thoughts, really trusting our gut. Our solar plexus is also in line during the entire Gemini season. So it is decision time, knowing that we are supported, we have a foundation, creating those boundaries. So our heart feels the comforts of home after we really make the best choice at our altar, going to the mountain. So with Spirit Online, the sound of metal, all the sounds are in the show notes, by the way, if you're new to my channel. But the solar plexus is online again all month long. So I would literally bring in the Ong tonality of the crown, the sound of the crown, the Ong, through the solar plexus and bring spirit to the solar plexus and sound it all out, just cleansing out your solar plexus airwaves with the wind, if you will, and go to the mountain for an elevated perspective. So it's like the conditioning spell that we've been under, feeling like we are all crazy, is being lifted. It's kind of what it feels like today. We're taking this action to clean out all these cosmic cobwebs of our feelings, our beliefs, our wounds, Chiron, our heartfelt love, what we're willing to open up and receive, Venus. So we've got a lot of little aspects there with Aries. So I would affirm that I'm releasing the old paradigm and being mindful of positive self-talk. You know, what is it? You have those self-talk today. That should be one, our own personal self-talk should only be our own heart's opinion of ourselves. Nothing outside of us should actually matter. It's the conversation that we kind of have with our soul and our spirit kind of bubbling through the streams. So with that, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, Ashe, I will see you on the other side. Blessings.